Hello, everybody. My name is Ann McDermott. I'm the editor of FareCompare, and Rick is off again today, but fortunately, sitting in his place is our Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Billy Sanes. Hello, Billy.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good, good. How were the fireworks where you were last night?
Well, the fireworks last night were good. Actually, the kids go to sleep early, so my wife and I can sit in the backyard and actually hang out and see everything. So it was a little cloudy, but it was good. It was nice. It was fun. How about you?
Well, fortunately, I have an old dog who is deaf, so it was a lot less exciting this year than we have had in previous years where the howling would get to frenzied pitches. But what I could see was lovely.
Okay.
Anyway, this is episode number 42 for those of you who are keeping count of the FareCompare video audio podcast. It's got everything. Rick will be back very soon, but in the meantime, we're keeping his seat warm, and we are going to tell you about flights to Europe. We're going to tell you about weird things that are not banned by security. We're going to take a question, talk about adventures. I mean, sky's the limit here today, guys. So let's start out with 5 ways to find really cheap flights to Europe. And we've been seeing some incredible deals lately.
Yeah, that's been great. It's amazing. Anywhere from like $475 from the fare that I saw this morning to $700. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, if you're not going.
When you say $400+, that's round trip. That's not a one-way fare.
That's round trip, and which is, I mean, pretty awesome. Yeah, you may have to take a little bit longer layover somewhere, but for $475, I'll take a 4-hour layover in New York City. I mean, that's no big deal.
Specific ways to do this to find the cheapest flights, and let's run through them real quick. And you can see the article on our site, which has got detailed information. But first of all, you always compare fares. We don't want to insult anybody's intelligence because, some people think that's a no-brainer, but other people just go to the one airline site where they know they always have the best deal. But the thing is, no airline always has the best deal. You got to compare.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at all the options, and some airlines don't show on every single website. That's why we try to aggregate everything in one place, right? So not every airline will show up in every online travel agency or every other aggregator. That's why we have over 150 different sites that we look at into one place, so then you can compare. So you got to do it because you may not see, like, for example, WOW Airlines or certain other airlines that are popping up and new.
Norwegian Air, but we've got them. We've got them. So come to FareCompare. And no matter where you go, compare fares. It could save you money. Maybe not, but you won't know unless you do it.
For sure.
The other thing is, if you're looking for a good deal to Europe, it would make sense to go to one of the cheaper destinations. And there are actually a lot of them that are on the cheap side this year. And some may surprise you. Now, you probably aren't surprised by Dublin or Shannon, but you may be surprised to know that Scandinavia is very cheap. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, tons of deals, and that is definitely thanks to increased competition from Norwegian Air and WOW Air.
Yeah, and I mean, you can even find good deals even into Zurich, right? You just have to look and compare. If you want to get to the main continent, just look at every single option from Zurich to Barcelona to even Paris, which you may think would be too expensive. In the fall, it's actually not a terrible deal.
No, we've seen some increasingly good deals to Paris, so don't skip that one just because you think, oh, can't afford that. No, maybe you can't afford a hotel room in Paris, but on the other hand, Airbnb, I'm told, has some very good deals. They are not a sponsor for us, so do your research, I guess, is what we always say.
Yeah, for sure.
But another way to find cheap flights is to look for travel starting roughly August 23rd and beyond, because that's when fares come down from the peak summer prices.
Yeah, and then that's not buying it August 23rd. That's flying after August 23rd, right?
Correct. And prices typically will drop again in October, and they stay low. That's when the winter rates kick in, and that's when Europe is the best value. That stays through about mid-March. So all good times to travel. One exception is the Christmas New Year's holiday, which we talked about last week. That's when prices zoom. But even so, I don't think they're comparable to the high prices of summer. So if you really want a Christmas in London, which sounds perfect to me, you did check it out.
Yeah, no, I actually one of my places I want to go for Christmas is actually Germany, and especially all the Christmas markets they have before. It's just beautiful.
I bet. I'm sure. There's a lot of cities that have that. But you mentioned this before. Another good thing to do is to pick the right route.
Yep.
Non-stops, not always, but usually, are more expensive. Another reason to compare. Compare prices and compare routes. And just so you know, on FareCompare, this is real easy. We have a little box when you look for flights. This is right next to the number of travelers that you input. The box you can check for non-stops only. Our suggestion is do not check that, because that way you will get everything. You will get the non-stops. You will get the connecting flights. And, almost always, but not always, connecting flights are cheaper.
Yeah. And it's if you plan it right, it's not such a pain. Even if you have kids, it's not such a pain. It's just getting ready for it, because it could be a huge difference, right? I was looking not only to Europe but even to Latin America for the Olympics. Even if you lay over somewhere, you can save up to $1,000 if you're going to the Olympics now. So, but even to Europe, some of these 400 plus round trip airfares do require a layover. But it's not awful for the amount of money that you're going to be saving.
Another way to look at it is, when you're flying to Europe, you're basically burning a day each way. Travel. It's a long travel day no matter how you fly, even in nonstop. So, what's the big deal about breaking it up? You can look at it this way. It gives you a chance to stretch your legs and, get sort of exercise, so it makes it more comfortable when you get back stuck in your little seat.
Yeah.
And you get a chance to walk around. So you're going to have a long day anyway. If you can save a little bit or a whole lot, why not? And finally, the one last thing to help you if you're planning a trip to Europe is set airfare alerts. This is a great thing to do if you know exactly where you want to go. And it's also a good thing if you're not quite sure where you want to go. Set it to alerts for a bunch of cities.
Yep.
And see what comes up, see what looks good, see what's cheap, see what, it might change your mind about, where you're going to go. And once you're in Europe, you can always take a low-cost carrier, they've got quite a few, to other cities. You can go all over the place. So, you might use the basic cheap U.S. to Europe deal to get there and use it as your base. And this is the same is true for people in Europe. They can, fly to New York or fly to Boston. Boston has very cheap deals now, or Seattle or Denver or, Washington, D.C., a bunch of cheap cities. So, plan accordingly.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we do here at FareCompare, right? That's where we actually spend most of our time, is actually finding those cheap deals so those alerts work even better. I was actually talking to the team this morning on a whole new plan of making sure that we're getting every single source working the right way to find the fare on time, so we can get that to you faster. Because we may see a fare that shows up and it may be a little bit lower, but we want you to snatch it up first. So that's what we actually do at our core here, is really finding those cheap fares so you don't have to pay more.
Another thing we like to do is give you all kinds of helpful advice, like getting through security, how to sign up for pre-check, what about children going through security. We've got all that on the site, and now we also have 6 weird things that are not banned by security. You probably know you can't bring a bottle of water. Well, that's not a weird thing, but dry ice is very weird. You can bring dry ice through security. Now, why you would want to, not sure. but you know, you can do it. You can do it. Uh, if you are a like needlework, you
Mhm.
may bring knitting needles on board.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
You
seen that a lot.
you can't bring a knife, you can't bring a box cutter, but you can bring a knitting needle. And however, circular thread cutters, no, sorry. There are some tools that you can bring on board. Uh, Screwdrivers,
Hmm.
pliers, wrenches. The one caveat is that they may not be longer than 7 inches in length. So,
No, it's actually kind of funny. A few years back, way back, I used to do a lot of tech work for a computer company and travel around the country. And you know, that was one of the cool things about, yes, I could actually take my small toolkit with me, even on carry-on when I had to go somewhere for an event or for an opportunity, which was, you know, a little different, right? But you know, but it's sometimes there's a lot of folks who do that for a living and travel, and so it actually makes it very easy, especially for technical folks.
another matter is deodorant. Are you bringing the right deodorant? Here's the deal on that. Uh, Stick deodorants,
Hmm.
no problemo. However, liquid or gel deodorants are limited to containers of just 3.4 ounces or less. Now, that does not mean, oh gosh, I have to buy the stick deodorant, because look at the packaging. You'd be surprised at how much is in a container of 3.4 ounces or less. And it may not even need to be the travel size, but 3.4 ounces, that's the magic number for liquids, for gels, for all kinds of stuff. And the other thing is, a lot of people have asked questions about razors. Electric razors, no problem. And the disposable razors, whether you either throw away that little cartridge head or just ditch the whole razor when you're done, those are okay too. It's the razors with actual removable blades that are a no-no. And it seems like there's a sort of, you know, going back to that.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. There's kind of a renaissance of shaving for men. I don't know if it's folks who are, you know, growing their beards too much and just want to get the underside just right, or you know, sort of this nostalgic feel of, you know, the sort of the hipster movement. But yeah, so like the razor blades my grandpa used to have, the ones he used to screw on top and, you know, slide in the removable thing, the one I learned how to shave with. Those, yeah, big no-no.
Okay. Did you know you could bring a pie through?
Oh no, this one I didn't know.
Well, you know, it may never occur to you to bring a pie through a security checkpoint, but you can. You may also bring a cake. However, and there's always a however with a TSA.
What, do I have to give them a slice or?
Possible they may have to cut into it, although I've heard that no, they, you know, normally they wouldn't do that. I think I think it has to go through the X-ray machine. That point I'm not totally sure about. But we've got this list, and we have a link to the TSA, the whole list of prohibited items, which will help you out radically. But the main thing to remember is, you know, no liquids, and liquids can even involves gloppy stuff like jams and jellies, or you know, say you know, as a souvenir you're buying some special olive oil or maple syrup. If it's in a container bigger than 3.4 ounces, and something like that typically is, no, 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 do not bring it through, or if they'll toss it, and you will be sad. I would.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Let's take a question. Let's take a question. Now, this is the part where we say, "Oh, wish Rick was here," but I think we can do this one.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it.
This is from Evan in Chicago, who says, "Hello. Hopefully, a quick question." He says, "I recently booked a flight from Chicago to Barcelona with Aer Lingus,
Hmm.
a fine airline," said the person of Irish descent. And he says, "I was debating on whether or not to get flight insurance when they were looking at the site's cancellation and refund policies. And Chris noted that the US DOT regulatory requirement requires all airlines to give you full cancellation without penalty, uh, within 24 hours. So I was thinking maybe I shouldn't get it before because of that. And it says, do you know if the regulation is good enough to fall back on or any other benefits of getting the travel insurance? Now, this is almost like a two-point question. Evan says he recently booked the flight from Chicago. Okay, you get 24 hours to cancel your flight without penalty.
Yep.
So it sounds like the time for that has passed.
Yeah, I mean that's for every single ticket sold point of sale in the U.S. So it's it's law here in the U.S. So you have to have the ability to kind of take it back within 24 hours and get your full money back. No penalties, no fees, no nothing.
And I just want to say one thing that's kind of interesting and kind of weird. Almost all the U.S. airlines, you can buy the ticket and then cancel within 24 hours. American Airlines works it a little bit different. You can hold the ticket for 24 hours and then get your money back.
Yeah, and that's going away pretty soon too from American. Actually, American is going back to parity, so they have that for I think it's through the summer, but then that's actually going away. That they announced earlier this year. So I think most of them will be at parity. So yeah, that's the across the board opportunity. But as far as for travel insurance, if you believe that you have like a personal thing that's going to cancel the flight, so sickness, family issue, all of a sudden your car doesn't work, or just some type of financial issue, I think you should. But if you're concerned about the flight being canceled by the airline is then responsible for it. The only thing that they're not responsible for is weather. So, or as they like to say, acts of God or incidents of war and terrorism. So that's when they don't usually refund your flight. So, say for example, there's a big storm or something like that. But like say for example, if you're going to the Caribbean and there's a big hurricane, most airlines allow you to get a refund or change the flight at least once. If you're going to Europe, it happened the same time a few years back when we had the volcano issue. Again, an act of God, right? A volcano erupting and a lot of ash in the atmosphere, which the airlines canceled a lot of flights. But they didn't have to, but they refunded flights or refunded fares for people. But if it's just a regular weather delay and it messes up your vacation, they don't have to. But if it's a mechanical issue, the airplane's not working, or the airline's not working right for one issue or another, they have to refund your money. So at least for when you buy it from the U.S. It's a little bit different from country to country, so I would always check rules. But if you have any doubts in that, then I would buy the insurance. I bought insurance before, and personally I haven't had to use it.
I would just say you've got to ask yourself a bunch of questions, like, what's the state of my health and my traveling companion? And another good question would be, what about, well, the main question I would ask is, does this cover what I may need it to cover? Will it give me a full refund, or will it provide me with a refund of the change fee in case I have to cancel at the last minute? You've got, and not all policies are the same, you've got to read the travel insurance extremely carefully, read the fine print, and if you don't understand it, call them. And if you can't get answers, check out another policy. You've got to know what you're buying, because some of these policies are pretty expensive. Now, are they worth it? They could be well worth it, but it's, it depends. Make sure you know what you're getting.
Yeah, just check and make sure you ask all those questions.
Okay, Eventurous now. This is our cool app, and where can people find it? It's all over the place, I know. But
yeah, you can find it. First, you can download it from the App Store, or the the App Store for Apple, or the App Store for Android. So it's available on both platforms. But also you can read every single bit of all of our content for Adventurist online. You go to faircompare.com/adventurist. All the content is there that's created by our whole team, right? So either experiences that we have seen or places we would love to go for events, and it's all based on especially like the one that we're going to talk about today, which, we were talking about Ireland a little bit earlier, and this one's the Galloway International Oyster and Seafood Festival. Yum.
I have been to Galway in Ireland, and I do not care for oysters. However, if you love oysters, you will love this thing. And if you don't love oysters, you will love this thing, because Galway is just so beautiful. It's so near so many beautiful things. The Cliffs of Moher is just down the road, sort of down the road. I mean, you're in Ireland. It's really pretty. You will have a good time whether you sit around and down thousands of oysters or not. We understand that they have some alcoholic beverages in Ireland, too, that probably would go very well with this seafood. So you want to check it out. But
a little beer, a little whiskey. Yeah, I know. And it's a great event. I am actually a huge fan of oysters, so I'll try.
Oh, perfect.
So I just travel because it's Ireland and it's just beautiful. So, but yeah, putting an event around it makes it kind of fun and interesting. And what I like about the way that we're looking at travel this way is, you want to go see the Cliffs of Moher, but what other great way to see local things like an oyster and seafood festival that's not only about cuisine, but great music, great art and artisans. All of that together, actually, I think makes such a cool experience of not just like going there and just doing the touristy stuff, but going there and you get to see the the beautiful Ireland and get to have Guinness in Ireland, and it's all great. But then you get to also see the things that folks who are from there love to do, which are events like this. So it's really neat. Actually, Jeremy, one of our team members, actually just went to Ireland about 6 months ago with his sister, and went to Galway, and we were talking about this event. And he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, maybe it's an event that I'll want to go again for in the near future." And it being in September and fares being really low right now, I think it's a pretty awesome time to book your ticket soon to see this event. So, maybe one of those things. I know my wife and I are planning a trip to London in late September because of the fares that are so low. We just may have to hop on Ryanair and go see this event because, I think we need more coverage and more pictures for it. Maybe a little video for next year too.
It's September 23rd through the 25th. If anybody's interested, Galway, you could fly into Shannon, which is the closest airport, or you could fly into Dublin, which, it's a beautiful drive to get over there. So this is the 61st year of the International Oyster Festival, I'll have you know. So go see it. I mean, be fun.
Yeah.
And if you'd like more information on this topic or any of the others we've talked about, please come to FareCompare.com. But most of all, come here to compare flight prices. You may think you found the perfect flight. I hope so. But check with us anyway. We just might have something cheaper.